On the Fringe with Dan, radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. This race war is what they're trying to push big time right now. We've got two major issues going on in regards to that, and I got a whole bunch of news to even attempt to get through. We're going to jump right into it. Something kind of weird I'm hoping to maybe share at the end that was keeping me awake last night. I think I've come to terms with it. Kind of wanted to pose the question to you guys, so I'll probably put that at the end. All said, we got a lot to go on. Just if you guys needed any reason to kind of ruin how you view movies, typically, here's a good example of, how fake the crap is. Horse looks surprisingly real, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Kind of strange how that works, doesn't it? Very strange, in fact. Very sad story, and I'm going to pause it before the bad part happens. But there's a hot air balloon festival that was happening down in Mexico. An individual, he was with two other people that were going to go up in the balloon. Basket caught fire. This individual pushed the other two people out of the way, saved them, but the balloon started to take off, and he got the rope kind of tied around him. He got tangled up in it and literally got taken up in the air while the balloon was burning. And so that dude was dangling. He eventually fell. I'm not going to play the part where he does. It's very, very sad. They blur it out, and the lady's like, oh, no. Like, it was really bad. So, unfortunately, he did save 2 lives, but lost his in the process. So, kind of a messed up sort of story. I'm not trying to start off on the wrong foot, but it was a pretty breaking news story. I talked about yesterday. I thought it was interesting that it's coming up now. Not that people are necessarily listening to me, but it is fun when that happens. But I talked about how the painting in the background was really the important thing, that people in the know would know exactly whose house this is or exactly what location this is. And there seems to be a little hint that we're being offered by the O'Keefe Media Group. He says, update, the painting in the background of the image featuring the infant has been identified as Beach Game and Rescue by Pablo Picasso. And of course, Picasso's controversial life, especially his relationship with his 17-and-a-half-year-old Marie Therese Walter, raises eyebrows. I don't know if it's because of her age, but back in the day, people married at like 13, so I don't know, whatever. Not that I think that's okay, I'm just saying it was a different time. Is this painting presence just a coincidence, or does it hint at something darker? What do you think? I think it hints at whose house it is what I think. Specifically, whose house this is. That's what that painting represents. Trump is going to scrutinize the Biden pardons. We've got the wonderful individual, Ed Martin, is in office now, and he is working with the pardon attorneys. This is what he's doing, and talk about somebody that's here to do exactly what we want him to do. But he said, quote, I do think that the Biden pardons need some scrutiny, and they need scrutiny because we want pardons to matter and to be accepted and to be something that's used correctly. So I do think we're going to take a hard look at how they went and what they did, and if they're, but null and void, I'm not sure how that operates. They're going to look into it, because obviously we've got people like Schiff and the whole J6 committee, Fauci, a whole bunch of people got tied up in those pardon things. That can't be okay. One thing that was, just kind of cool about when Trump ended up in Qatar, they had a bunch of red Cybertrucks that were actually surrounding the presidential motorcade with the red Audi in front. I don't know. For some reason, I just thought that would kind of look cool. I don't know if Musk was on this trip or not. I'm not sure. But again, a lot of good things did come out of that trip. Qatar Airways, they signed an agreement to buy 160 Boeing planes. 160 Boeing planes. They're also the ones that were offering to give Trump the Boeing 747 that everyone's freaking out about, but made a very sweet deal, multi-billion-dollar deal to help out Boeing for sure. Here's a bit of a good interview with Sean Hannity, just talking about Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, the planes, just, getting into all this stuff. Let's hear it. It's pretty good.
UAE is committed $1.5 trillion. Saudi Arabia, $1 trillion. Apparently you had ordered a new Air Force One in your first term. They're years behind in terms of its production.
It's a Boeing. And when I came to office, the Obama people had ordered it, but they didn't sign yet, so I was supposed to sign. They were at about 5.7 trillion. It's actually, as you know, Air Force One is actually two Boeing 747s. And they had agreed to a price of 5.7 billion. And through a series of little negotiations, I got it down very, very substantially by a lot.
With the new design?
Well, it's pretty much the same plane with the new paint color, if you want to know the truth. We're painting it red, white, and blue like the American flag, which is incredible. Much more beautiful and much more representative of us. So anyway, I got the price way down by a lot and ordered it. And when I came, I said, the plane, where's the plane? And they said, it's late. And I said, why would it be late? You know, I went through a whole term and where we had an election that was absolutely rigged. And because of that, this is a much more historic presidency, I would say. But I said, where's the plane? And they are having difficulty. I'm not happy with Boeing, but we're going to work on Boeing. And Boeing's got some unbelievable people working for it. So I'm not going to do anything bad to Boeing. But they had a strong contract. I wrote the contract. It was a guaranteed price contract. And if I wanted to, I could, hurt Boeing. And I don't want to hurt Boeing. But they are very late with the plane. And Qatar heard about it, and he's a great leader. And we were talking, and he said, if I can help you, let me do that. And they had a plane, not a new plane at all, but they had a plane. And these planes, the plane that you're on right now is almost 40 years old. And when you land and you see Saudi Arabia and you see UAE and you see Qatar and you see all these, and they have these brand new Boeing 747s mostly, and you see ours next to it. This is like a totally different plane. It's much smaller, it's much less impressive as it is. And we're the United States of America. I believe that we should have the most impressive plane. So anyway, so they said to me, we would like to, in effect, we would like to make a gift. You've done so many things, and we'd like to make a gift to the Defense Department, which is where it's going. And I said, well, that's nice. Now, some people say, oh, you shouldn't accept gifts for the country. My attitude is, why wouldn't I accept a gift? We're giving to everybody else. Why wouldn't I accept a gift? Because it's going to be a couple of years, I think, before the Boeings are finished. And they'll be wonderful when they're finished, but that's a long time.
Part of your argument how the United States has paid untold billions and trillions of dollars securing every aspect of the world?
Well, I said that. I said, we've secured that part of the world for many years. So if somebody makes a gift, then I get nothing. I get to fly it like any other president would. Ultimately, it'll be at the end of its lifetime or at the end of the term, because we're going to have the other ones in by that time.
So the U.S. is kind of giving them gifts. It's called national defense.
Yeah. No, security. Well, we give a lot of gifts. We give too many gifts, to be honest with you. We give gifts to defend countries. They wouldn't even exist. Many countries wouldn't even exist. All over the world, countries wouldn't even exist. But I thought it was a beautiful gesture. Now, there are those that say we shouldn't be accepting gifts to the Defense Department. And I would say only a stupid person would say that. Why wouldn't we do that? And so it helps us out because we'll have a relatively new plane instead of having 40-year-old planes. These planes are 40 years old, and that's not representative of our country.
I mean, he's right. So, again, this is pissing off everybody. We've talked about some of the people. It's how they have a picture of John Thune. Lots of issues with the offer. But, of course, they mainly get into Cruz and him saying, Ted Cruz saying that it might not be safe to do that from a security standpoint, which I've mentioned as well. But Trump seems confident of that. I still think, and it's so funny that everybody wants him to use this old plane, which, I don't know, like if I'm going to talk about a plane that's not secure, that one. And then he would say, it's the most secure plane in the entire world, Dan. Secure from who? Deep State's definitely got stuff in there. Get out of here. They're not letting him just fly around and have conversations secretly. Please. No. I mean, again, who knows? But I think these things are significantly more difficult to check. It's not like you've got a thing that's just constantly emitting and you just do a sweep over it, right? That's what I think a lot of people assume, right? They're running around with little wands. But that wand only works if it's emitting. A lot of these things don't emit, or they require something else, or they're activated even by specific voices. I mean, there's just crazy shit they can do, man. And that's just me coming up with stuff. I'm sure there's better. While most Americans probably didn't even hear that President Trump lifted sanctions on Syria, well, Syrians felt a wee bit different. They were what we would call excited. Yeah, that's the difference between Biden and Trump, right? Everybody wants wars to continue. Everybody wants everybody fighting. Not Trump, not us. No, we don't, in fact. You got to love the Dems. The Dems are out of control. They're awesome. President Trump, he's flying around the world right now, working nonstop, making incredible deals with foreign leaders and trying to stabilize the globe with world peace. And it's only Wednesday. Meanwhile, back home, multiple members of Congress are literally sleeping on the job. Literally. Mr. Moore and, I don't know, Ms. Pierre. What's the Pierre water that, whatever that stuff is. I don't like mineral water that much. Though it's funny, I drink White Claws, right? But it's slightly got a flavor and a kick. Sort of the fun part, typically. Right here is the story that's going on right now. Multiple sources told 5 Eyewitness News that Governor Tim Walz, the Minnesota National Guard, Mayor Jacob Frey, and Hennepin County Sheriff Dawana Witt have all been briefed on preparation for possible civil unrest if President Donald Trump pardons former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin for his federal conviction of killing George Floyd. No one really knows exactly why this has come up. When asked by White House reporters in March about pardoning Chauvin, President Trump replied, "No, I have not heard about that." Sources also told KSTP the Minnesota Department of Corrections is ready to pick up Chauvin at the federal penitentiary in Arizona and bring him back to Oak Park Heights Prison in Minnesota to serve the remainder of his 22-and-a-half-year sentence. Over the weekend, Attorney General Ellison told MSNBC that Chauvin will not be set free. Then, on Monday, when asked about the possibility of a pardon, Governor Walz told reporters, "No indication whether they're going to do it or not, but I think it behooves us to be prepared for it. With this presidency, it seems like something they would do." So he's trying to fire up the race hate. There's no indication that Trump's going to do this. By the way, Walz is wrong about everything. The guy's a frickin' idiot. That aside, this is what the left does, especially with all their puppets, which Walz at best is a puppet. At best, Walz, you're a friggin' sock puppet. That's at best what you are. And that's easily the level of intelligence you can actually attain. Now, I take that back, because whatever's got their hand up your ass, they're actually the ones doing the talking, and they're obviously much smarter than you anyway. So I take that back. You're less smart than a sock puppet. Minneapolis and state leaders prepare for this possible pardon. So, Marjorie Taylor Greene says she strongly supports Derek Chauvin being pardoned and released from prison. George Floyd died of a drug overdose. Now, here's the thing. I don't disagree. I don't understand why Marjorie Taylor Greene's chasing after this one right here. That is definitely going to lead to riots. Definitely. No question about it. Is it the right thing to do? Yep. Is it definitely going to lead to riots? Yeah, 100%. They're already planning for it. And here's Marjorie Taylor Greene pushing for the thing that they're literally planning to make riots out of. Now, again, I think there's actual people, and I honestly think this is what's going on. I'm not going to pull any punches from Marjorie right now because she keeps kind of, every once in a while, she does weird shit like this, and I don't know. I actually think she knows that these things are supposed to happen. I think she's tired of shit not getting fixed, and I think she wants all the nasty shit to start happening so we can start moving forward. That's what I actually think. So I think she's actually trying to push the riots so we can get past them. I think they're going to happen all on their own, but I do find it very strange that Marjorie Taylor Greene is currently trying to help push the riots. That just seems like a weird choice to me, but all right, whatever. South Africa's president slams Afrikaner refugees as cowards for fleeing persecution. So we've got the leader of the South African country or whatever right now, And he's pissed off at all the white people that have fled thus far and all the white people that want to flee. Trump, his administration, accepted in a small number so far, but more are coming. But they're I guess, refugees, or what's the word they use when they're afraid for their life, which they should be, because this is why this guy says you guys are cowards, because you're fleeing persecution. Now, this whole area is a very interesting thing. Like, so right now we've got a country that basically since 1797, and we'll get to it, but since 1797, this southern port, for sure, was taken control of by the British. So white people have had that presence down there for a long-ass time, right? 228 years. It was either going to be them or the French, one or the other. And so the black people of this country have decided they're taking back their country. They started killing these farmers that were white, which, again, they probably acquired a bunch of land, probably because they were significantly further along when it came to the development of technology. It just made me think of the biblical times, right? You had people way back in the day that at best were herders, and someone shows up with some fancy technology, and everybody's like, oh my God, you're a god. And that's just typical how people are. So it makes you think almost when you had these native cultures, and then all of a sudden the British showed up with probably firearms, or at least pretty solid weaponry. It was 1797. I don't know if they had guns back then. I think gunpowder was invented back in the 1500s or something weird like that by China, right? Whatever. They had weapons that were significant. They probably did, because they had navies with cannons and crap. Whatever the case. They showed up. They looked like gods. They took over a bunch of land. Right or wrong, we can debate that all day long. The black people of the country have essentially taken over and decided that anybody that's white is kind of an enemy or needs to be persecuted for what they've done, for their past sins, which is funny because, I don't know what happens in South Africa, and I'm not going to stand up for the white people because I don't know how they act. I don't know if they walk around on their douches. I just don't know. But obviously, the black people are like, F you guys, and they're coming after him. This is a race attack against white people, which we've been seeing here in the United States, here in Europe as well. They've been attacking the white person, namely the white male, which is funny because white females glommed onto it. And then a lot of the white females are now like, oh crap, they're against me too? But I'm a female. Yeah, but you're still white. And you sold out a lot of people. So we're in a weird place. And then we've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's from Atlanta, by the way, talking about something that's in Minnesota from a dude that's in jail in Arizona. None of these states are hers. But again, like I said, to give her credit, maybe, because otherwise she's pissing me off again, which doesn't, who cares? But otherwise, she's stirring the pot. This will turn into the amount. Okay, this brings up the thing. Shit. This is one of the things I wrote. So people have a lot of these special people that are asleep, whatever, people that are still programmed. They have buttons or triggers. And there's two choices when it comes to somebody with a button or trigger. When you're dealing with them, when it's you, whether it's me, the government, the news, you have two choices. I can rile them up, or I can kind of step aside, right? But unfortunately, riling is significantly easier, and if you're pissed at them, it's fun. So do you try to help, or do you let them sleep in the bed that they made? Meaning, the people that are going to freak out, that are going to panic, that are going to go riot in the streets are probably going to get rounded up and arrested. Marjorie Taylor Greene's probably aware of that, just like many of us are, right? So let's get this ball going. So do you try to help them, or do you let them end up where they're going to end up because of what choices they've made? Either way, personally, I'm going to be fine. I know that. I'm not worried about that at all. But I seem to be attached to the ultimate outcome. This was the thing that was bothering me. I seem to care whether or not people are able to wake up from this. And so right now there's this race thing. For the most part, there's white people that I would say probably kind of fall into the fact that like race bothers them in some way or whatever. I don't know. They seem to get riled up by this a lot more. Now these black people, like some people just, you hear white people say stuff sometimes when you're a white person that's not racist and they'll have racist friends. Like you just don't like, it's just weird, right? The first few times you hear it, like it's strange. The first time I heard the N-word was out in Tennessee, by the way. No offense to Tennesseans, but that was the first place I heard it just thrown out in the middle of the, I was like, what? Seriously? Dude, back home, we like, if anybody says that, you like look around real quick and then you whisper it. And again, I'm not one to say it. I don't even like to say it. I don't know if I have. I think I probably have way back in the day. I definitely was some Two Live Crew music and stuff I got into. But for the most part, I just don't like the word. I'd ignore it when it was in songs. I'm not trying to say I'm better. It's not a virtue signal. It's just, I always thought it was an ugly word. Kind of like the C word. That's a gnarly word. And sort of would be fun to throw around like the Brits get to. But it's the C word, man. That gets a shoe thrown at you at the best. F word's a different story, though. Whatever the case is, people are easy to get riled up. People are easy to get fired up like this. And they're being very successful at it. And so there's this part of me that's licking my wounds because I'm like, I failed. I failed to get enough of us awake. Maybe, well, I'm not trying to wake per se, but at the same time, like Marjorie Taylor Greene's trying to do, maybe it just needs to happen. Maybe I just need to sit on my hands for a few minutes and let this occur. Again, don't know. Whatever. Invasion of Cape Colony, also known as the Battle of Muizenberg. Okay. It's a British military expedition launched in 1795 against the Dutch Cape Colony at the Cape of Good Hope. They wanted that area. The French Revolutionary Wars were happening. It was either the French were going to get it or the British were going to get it. It was an extremely important place to own. It's also one of the most dangerous places in the world to sail. That Cape and the one below South America are both extraordinarily dangerous to sail. Whatever the case is, that they got the British got it. So a lot of things led to where we're at today, and now everybody's like it's like people that want reparations. It's like there's nobody alive that was a slave. And there's nobody alive that owned slaves as far as America's concerned. So why would anybody have to pay for that? And why would anybody get money for that? It's absurd. So leftists, they're furious right now over the South African refugees. Think about it. South African refugees are coming here. White people are coming here. They're ultimately going to find out where they are. They're going to find out where they are, and they're going to go protest. They're going to torment these white people because they're white and they came from South Africa. Because most of these weak-minded people just want a reason to go be pissed off at somebody. Pure and simple. It's going to get them in trouble. It's going to destroy their own lives, but we can't seem to stop them from putting their hands on that hot stove or into the fire or whatever. And you're like, and I guess it's kind of like Marjorie Taylor Greene's like, you want to touch it really bad, don't you? Yeah, I bet you do. Huh. Just like tempting them, pushing the button. Like if you're stupid enough to touch that, go ahead. Do it. Do it already. Again, do I appreciate that? Part of me wants to see if we can not have to experience these things to that level of extreme, but I know we do. It's killing me. Ed Martin, DOJ's pardon attorney. This is one of the things I was sort of talking about. We'll at least play the 30 seconds, 44 seconds here of Ed Martin kind of talking about what I was saying.
We've never seen pardons of the scope, and it looks at least like something that you could be corrupt. When Bill Clinton pardoned Mark Rich, and turns out that Mark Rich had paid a boatload of money to one of Clinton's friends, lawyers, that's not corrupt. It's not criminal because the plenary power of the pardon. But in the case of Joe Biden and his pardons, they were so specific, back 14 years, covering everything you've ever done. And when I say specific, they were broad, but they had time stuff on them. It was and that least leads to questions because the plenary power is true, but the question is what was going on here? And I did get responses from some of them, and those things are ongoing.
So again, we don't know if it's legal to try to even question this. I don't know if it's ever happened, ever. So one of the things to keep in mind, but nonetheless, we do need to ask questions. I think that's one of the most important things we ever will do, for that matter. Folks, we got I'm having a great time talking with Mike Lindell. We're doing it every other Wednesday, so not today, obviously, but coming up next Wednesday. And it's fun to hear more about what's going on with the election integrity and stuff because he's very directly involved in that. And on top of that, he makes an incredible company that makes the best pillow I've ever used. Also, this Rev 7 drink is amazing. You can get a free 3-pack, by the way, a free 3-pack. You just got to pay shipping. I would tag it on to some other cool stuff while you're here. They've got the Giza sheets, $49.98, any size, any color. They've also got the percale sheets at $29.98 or $29.98, any size, any color. Okay, sheets are always a good thing, especially when you got extra beds, especially if you don't like doing laundry. You need that second or third set of sheets, right? And maybe you got a weird size too. This fits all. They got all sorts of crazy sizes, $29.98. Perfect size. We've got toppers too if you want to add a little life to your mattress or just make your mattress even better. Also, I've got the dog beds if you really truly love your dogs. Yeah, you get them a MyPillow dog bed. You get to use one of the MyPillows. Where they're down here. You get to use one. Why shouldn't they get one? And then you should have one in each of the main rooms you hang out. So you sleep in one room, you put a dog bed in there, right? And you got that other room, like the sewing room, like Nan always tells me about hers, right? You got a dog bed in there. And then like maybe you watch TV with your husband at night or your wife, depending. Or just by yourself. Who knows? You put another dog bed in that room. Or a dog blanket because they always get up on the couch with you. Let's be honest. Come on. So whatever the case is, they got all of those things. $34.99. You got the dog beds, $39.98. Different sizes, of course. And the best pillow you're ever going to use, $17.98. I want Mike Lindell to tell you all about the Rev 7 and the Percale Sheets sale. It's right here.
To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now.
Yeah, that Rev 7 stuff is incredible. It's delicious. It is oddly super delicious. It is so strange, in fact. It's sweeter than it seems like it should be, and there's no sugar in it. No caffeine. It's got, I forget, like BAAA stuff or whatever the hell it is. It's the energy that your body produces when you don't feed it any carbs at all. Like you literally say you wake up and you're empty stomach, right? You've been sleeping all night, you haven't eaten anything, and then you go down to the gym and start lifting weights. Well, your body's got to create energy somehow. So it does it through a chemical process within the body, and it creates this chemical to give you energy. Well, that's what's in this drink. It's a trip. I don't know. It definitely gives you awesome energy. I don't notice any crashes or anything weird like that. The flavor is amazing. So, lemonade, green apple, or the blueberry citrus is very good. I got lemonade and blueberry citrus. Not a big green apple guy. It tastes amazing, though. It tastes like a green Jolly Rancher. It's delicious. And just not my favorite flavor, right? So I went with these two. Like them. It works. A lot of good energy in there. So again, strong stuff. MyPillow.com/OTF. That's MyPillow.com/OTF. Get the best night of sleep you've ever had, and then wake yourself up and get some energy. Some California news. California's Ricardo Lara lets State Farm raise insurance rates. This pisses me off. Not because, again, I don't like insurance companies. I get why they've left. But again, it's from mismanagement from California. So because of the mismanagement from California, the insurance dude made it where they couldn't raise their rates sufficiently in this state to pay for all the crazy fires that we have and the obscene amount of damage that occurs. Again, because of mismanagement, they don't rake the forest, to use Trump's term. So they weren't doing their job. They then locked down insurance companies so they couldn't get the money they felt the insurance companies wanted or needed. Right, wrong, and different. Judge that separately. It's fine. I don't care. But what happened is the insurance companies canceled a bunch of people right before the fires, just before the fires, a couple months before the fires. Canceled a whole bunch of homeowners. And now, once the fires happen, they're not offering the homeowners full value. They're making it difficult for homeowners to get the actual value. And so after all that happens, after they've fucked in the ass the shit out of these people in Palisades, now all of a sudden, California Insurance Commissioner Dickwad Ricardo Lara decides to say, okay, State Farm, go ahead and raise the rate 17%. Nice number. Yeah. While you're at it, go ahead and fuck them one more time. Thanks, buddy. Glad you're helping. Governor Newsome flip-flops on enrolling illegal immigrants on taxpayer-funded health care programs. Why? Because we're looking into it. Government's looking into it. And they're not going to get any state money if they're giving all their shit away to people they're not supposed to be giving it away. So now all of a sudden Gavin Newsome's like, whoa, okay, so we're not gonna do this. We're not gonna give these guys any Medi-Cal. No more low-income immigrants in Medi-Cal, the state's Medicaid program, right? So from 2026, and begin charging those already enrolled a monthly premium the following year. Because, again, Doge-type people are looking into it, and they're like, look, we're not giving you a dime. Dude, are you kidding me? You're so mismanaging your funds, and you're crying you're broke? Yeah, of course you are, you idiot. Cry me a river. Oh, wait, no, you'd flush it out to the ocean. Bastard. Newsom asked lawmakers to fast-track Delta Tunnel project. This is literally a project that California has needed for 50 friggin' years. It's the Delta, it's the water, it's being able to get more of that water that we just drag down. Typically, we try to drain out to the ocean because, you know, we got a stupid fish that lives in a stupid thing. Don't want it to die. Fuck the people, but let's, save the fish. $20 billion he wants, 45-mile-long tunnel through the crumbling Delta. So now he wants money. I think he's trying to get some of this from the federal government, too. I think this is his attempt to get some federal money. Now, we know the federal money they got for the choo-choo train to nowhere was all spent. None of that's left over. They're broke. They have nothing. They've been stealing from everything. And now they're like, we need a project that sounds good, that if Trump says no to, it's going to look bad on him. But Trump's always going to be able to say, you guys suck at everything you do, California. We're not giving you any money. I don't care if you say it's to save kids, to have angels come and visit them from heaven. No. Sorry. Not until you fix your shit. Federal judge takes control of New York's troubled Rikers Island. Judge Laura Taylor Swain in Manhattan said she would select a remediation manager reporting directly to her who will have broad powers to reform Rikers, including authority to revise the jail's rules, hire staff, and take disciplinary actions against employees who violate policies on the use of force. The Legal Aid Society and the law firm Emery Kelly Brinkoff. Jesus, really? Emily Kelly Brinkoff, Abade, Ward, and Maisel. And a partridge in a pear tree. Whatever the frick. Apparently, this appointment marks a critical turning point and overdue acknowledgement that the city leadership has proven unable to protect the safety and constitutional rights of incarcerated individuals. This is because ICE was being given permission by Mayor Adams. That's what this is. So a judge has taken the jail away from essentially the city? You can't make this shit up, folks. I'm just telling you. Can't make it up. Not even if you want to. Big article came out here. According to this news article, and it's not like necessarily anybody you would like Central City News, huh? But they actually did some really good analytics on this. Essentially, long story short, they show how the United States government was stolen. So the report analysis shows fraud in 30 states, and more than 2,000 counties had something in common. Voting systems involved? Well, it was Dominion machines and Smartmatic, coincidentally, long favored by the political establishment. What we also noticed, though, is at very specific times that Trump got shifted down while other people went up. It happened at very specific times. It happened in very specific amounts of numbers. It's just very strange how these things happened consistently, exactly the same ratios for the most part. Well, ratios were different state to state. But the same exact thing happened across multiple states. I'd be curious if the timestamps are close, but hopefully those would be varied as well from the standpoint of the people stealing from us. I hope they're not just that stupid. For those of you that are curious about the new sixth-generation fighter, a little bit of info has finally come out, some stats anyways. They're claiming this thing's going to get over 1,000 nautical mile range. That's incredible. The F-22 is about 590 nautical miles. The F-15EX, about 690, by the way, which is pretty damn good. You can put external drop tanks and stuff like that, not necessarily in the F-47 or the F-22. You lose stealth when you do it. F-15 doesn't care. It's like a giant tank that flies. It's a rocket tank that flies. So we did get a little information. We're also finding out that its top speed is going to be 2+, and its stealth will be stealth plus. Kind of cool. Just a slightly bigger picture for those of you that actually want to see it. But yeah, they also talked a little bit about the drones. Drones are supposed to have about 1,000 made. They're going to have about a 700 nautical mile range. And top speeds classified and stealth level are classified. They'll probably be very stealthy, most likely. And these the F-47 can stay and loiter in further ranges and send in their drones to do the danger or the bad stuff or to cause people to turn on their radars or whatever you need to do. A lot of different ways that will play out, so that should be kind of fun for those of you guys that are excited about that stuff. Gabbard removes 2 top National Intelligence Council officials over politicization of the community. So back in April, she did get rid of, CIA director, They got rid of leakers that were involved. The director relocated the council from the CIA back to the office of the director of the National Intelligence, right? And then they just recently got rid of the acting head of the council, Mike Collins, and his deputy, Maria Langen-Rieckhoff. The council is responsible for coordinating with policymakers and generally considered part of the analytic arm of the intelligence community. This is the ones that kind of talk to Congress and stuff like that. These people were also the ones that were working directly with one of the CIA directors that signed off on the letter with the laptop. So, yes, they got let go. Anybody that was tied in to any of the 51 people is out. Well, that's not fair. It's 100% fair, and we don't want any of those fucktards in here because that was a lie. So you signed a lie. That's not cool. I thought I played this already. Yeah, the pardon attorney, I had this thing in like all sorts of places. That's pretty funny. I think I was just pasting the same thing all over the place. Probably missed some stories, whatever. Virginia County tries to freeze out ICE deportation experts. They're trying to eliminate the provisions that allow local police to inform Immigration and Customs Enforcement when they take in an illegal alien into custody. And then this part really got me. Advocates have been working to prevent police from informing ICE when they arrest aliens accused of terror ties or are gang members or are otherwise deemed to be threats to public safety. Don't let ICE know I have a horrible individual here that I'm likely going to dump back out on the street. Don't let ICE know. This is what Arlington County, Virginia, and Virginia in general, is trying to pass as a law. Can't be legal, I don't know, at least from a federal standpoint. But what will probably happen is either A, Virginia's going to end up losing all funding because of this county, or this county is going to lose any funding it was getting. Venezuelans threatened to take hostages. They were in jail. They're in prison. And a bunch of these Tren de Aragua took over a small section and they blacked out cameras and did all this stuff, and they threatened to take hostages. And literally, there was a bit of a standoff for a little while. These are the people that are in our jails in places that are, if they break out, it could be really bad, especially. So a judge has recently backed Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport Tren de Aragua gang members. Federal judge ruled Tuesday that President Trump and his administration were allowed to use the 1798 Alien Enemies Act for expedited removal of suspected Tren de Aragua gang members. Kind of the important part is they agreed with Trump's decision that it was an incursion, and they've properly labeled these people as enemies of state So based off of that, what Trump is doing is okay. They seem like they had some sort of little, we don't like this part, the way Trump's administration is doing it, and then he just kind of goes into all this other crap. So I don't know how much of that was just Breitbart dropping in their little opinions, but whatever the case is, Trump's allowed to deport. These guys are essentially, this is backing anyways, his consideration that these people are in fact enemies of state. Trump is asking SCOTUS, though, to permit this. I don't know if he's, I didn't see the information yet. I'm sure it'll come out, but I'm assuming he's appealing that further, which he's done that on rulings where he's won in the appeals court, the appellate court. And he's wanted to actually see these get up to the Supreme Court because he needs the law of the land. He needs that precedent. He needs it set in stone so nobody else can bug him. So big step, and Trump's trying to get that going. This was funny, going after, what Dem was she pissed off at? I forget. It was that Dan guy. Dan, what's his name? Goldberg or whatever? Dude's a douchehole. He sort of speaks at the very last second, but this is her just basically shaming his sadness.
Extremely discouraging to be one of your constituents. To see you fight for a terrorist like this and not fight for them is extremely alarming to me.
I'm fighting for my butt. There you are, sick bastard. Mexico's Gulf Cartel continues sending gunmen up into Texas, and they're stealing trucks. They need four-wheel drive, I think four-wheel drive probably too, but four-door trucks specifically. They're just coming after anybody that's got the right kind of truck. They're coming up to them with guns, taking their cars, and then trying to get them across the border as quickly as possible. Based off of what I'm seeing here, these are just people that are either A, their families are being threatened, or B, they're the younger kids that kind of getting involved, but they're not major players in any way, shape, or form. So these guys are, it's being used. They're pawns. They're using pawns, just young kids too, for that matter. And they're coming up to people's doors with, car doors with guns in their hand. State troopers got a big problem down there in Texas. Hopefully we can get that under control as well. This is Brownsville, I think, where this particular story was happening, but it's happening in a number of areas down there. ICE makes 196 arrests in Nashville during a week-long operation. Step in the right direction, to say the least. Grand jury, I feel like I mentioned this yesterday, but we're going to keep it on the front burner. Grand jury indicts Wisconsin judge who helped migrants escape ICE. Busted her on 2 charges. Grand jury charges that on or about April 18th, 2025, in the state and eastern district of Wisconsin, Hannity Dugan knowingly concealed EFR, a person for whose arrest a warrant and process had been issued under the provisions of the law of the United States, so as to prevent the discovery and arrest of EFR after notice and knowledge of the fact that a warrant and process had been issued for the apprehension of EFR. And on count 2, the grand jury further charges that on or about April 18, 2025, in the state and eastern district of Wisconsin, Hannah C. Dugan did corruptly endeavor to influence, obstruct, and impede the due and proper administration of the law under a pending proceeding was being had before a department and agency of the United States, namely the administrative arrest of EFR for purpose of removal proceedings conducted by the United States Department of Homeland Security by committing affirmative act to assist EFR to evade arrest. Grand jury wants to go after her. Good, frankly. Now, Supreme Court Justice is critiquing the rulings. Don't critique the justices. I was just wondering if you still meant that, because this justice, I don't know what her rulings were, but the justice herself is a criminal. Mr. Roberts, what do you say? Have you committed crimes, Mr. Roberts? Because again, your justices, your rulings I disagree with, certainly from time to time, but if there's any truth to any of the rumors floating around about you, well, shucks. I don't know. I feel like we should be able to critique the justice as well. Huh? Don't know. We'll see. We'll see. The radical left has lost their minds. A surprise to anybody? No. They would rather raid an ICE facility to defend criminal illegal migrants, or immigrants, I should say, than represent their own constituents. The 3 Democrat members involved in this stunt do not deserve to sit on a committee alongside serious lawmakers. This guy put together some law, some rules, whatever the hell, that most likely Johnson can probably get passed, that would essentially take them off these committees. By the way, and that's where they make their extra money. I don't think that's how they become millionaires. That's through the illegal stock trading, but same thing, which, by the way, Mike Johnson declares support for congressional stock trading ban. This would be fun because this is a mixture of people that are getting benefits on this. There's a bunch of Democrats that support this, and there's a bunch of Republicans that support this, and there's some Democrats and some Republicans that have been taking advantage of this for a long time. They most likely are going to get overvoted. Now, this would be held over Johnson's head for whether or not he can get that big, beautiful bill through the assembly. This is, again, how the game's played. That's why his job's not easy. This is the bullshit that happens. He's got to be able to herd cats. That's essentially it. So, whatever. We'll see what happens. GOP civil war breaks out over Medicaid as the right calls for deeper cuts. This is, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to pass anything, frankly. I have zero faith, frankly. I'm not trying to rain on anybody's parade, but I have zero faith that our political Congress members are going to be able to get shit pushed through Congress. Zero. We got the Senate basically saying, whatever the House is doing is bullshit. It's not doing enough. And then we got people in the House that are like, you're not doing enough, which I agree with. But so far, we're in the 14th, and, we'll see. Deficits aren't large enough. There's some little fancy magic they're doing with the Congressional Budget Office and the way they're finagling the numbers, pushing some of the stuff down about 4 years down the road where it could be removed after Trump's out of office. Just shenanigans are happening. And this is Republicans, by the way, too, that are pushing this nonsense through. We'll see where it goes. GOP senators raise red flags over House ambitious Trump legislative package. Yeah, the Senate's just like, you're not cutting enough. Mike Johnson he's on pace to put this bill together that can barely muster 218 votes. Senators Josh Hawley, he's not fond of what's happening. New requirements, anti-fraud provisions that House Republicans have proposed for Medicaid. But he raises concerns about the cost-sharing proposal, which he said would make beneficiaries pay more. Right? Can't have people pay more. He's worried about hospitals shutting down. This is the thing. We can't actually do the right thing because everybody's worried about all the bullshit budgeting they've been doing. Well, you got to keep giving us this fucked up money or else we're not going to be able to pay for all the fucked up things that are being supported by this money. It's like that stuff needs to go down then. Or you need to figure out how to pay for it, or get fundraising, or figure it out. But to continue to milk everybody else for your bullshit just so you can get elected, again, I don't want to pay more taxes. As a person in that state, they at least should be more responsible for the bullshit happening in their own state. People in other states shouldn't have to pay for your bullshit. That's just how the game should play. I'm in California. I'm in one of the worst states, frankly. And we got to figure out how to balance our own house. Granted, we're the fourth highest GDP in the world. Just saying. It's messed up, too. Doja's second act, I don't know. They're just getting into trying to be more transparent. That's really the big takeaway on this story. So that's Doja's second act, is to let it be very known what's happening, how much money's being saved, what bills can we pass to try to bring that down, trying to get Congress more involved and trying to save some money. Apparently, they're saying there's a bit of a ghost in the machine. Duh, we've all been talking about this for a long time. But rogue communication devices have been found in Chinese inverters. So Chinese inverters, many of the products that China makes, and the inverters are used in the solar stuff. So a lot of places are using these. And China's got communication devices built into these things that literally communicate stuff back, whatever they can pick up. I don't know what they're looking for, but I'm sure communications, maybe stuff that's happening in the house. I don't even know how sensitive or how small they can make that stuff, but it's built into the inverters that are usually tied directly to your electrical grid. You can maybe shut it down. Ghost in the machine, folks. Regime media has been forced to admit tariffs have left little impacts. Politico did a story basically admitting, this didn't raise the prices as much as we were expecting it to, or hoped it would. Once again, they said this last time we put tariffs on stuff. It's going to cause everything to be more expensive. That never happened. And then a lot of us were saying, they said this already, and they still continued. And so people were freaking out. And yet prices didn't go up nearly as much as the expectation. Also, we've seen that Trump has managed to bring the tariffs down for a lot of different people that have made deals for us or with us. BlackRock flags quantum computing as a risk for Bitcoins. It's just a weird statement for BlackRock to make, frankly. But they're basically saying that quantum computing technology is able to advance. It could potentially undermine the viability of many of the cryptographic algorithms used across the world's information technology infrastructure, including the cryptographic algorithms used for digital assets like Bitcoin. Again, quantum computing is going to make it difficult for a lot of things. I think some of the problem is the blockchain is only so good to a certain number of bits, if you will. I think a lot of other systems can be upgraded, but blockchain really can't. It's kind of like reaches a point where this is the best we can do with the blockchain. The blockchain's only so big, it can only get so complex. It's only so many bits. I think that's part of the problem. I don't know. Again, I'm not fond of crypto at all. I think it's a step towards a central digital currency. I think it's a step towards controlling your wealth via electronics. I don't like any of that shit. I'm so very against it. I get you can make money off it. I'm not against that. I think that's awesome. But I think to think this is the future of currency is, to me, is a very New World Order. And that was what the New World Order was always trying to create, was a digital currency. So where a lot of this stuff came from is that movement, that process, and the fact that it's become as popular as it has. And really what it all comes down to with the case of Bitcoin is how much money is in the Bitcoin chain. How many people have invested in this? And it really has gained a lot. It's like, I don't know, $52 billion or something is in there. Is that right? Or is that how much got added recently? I don't know. That number was given to me somewhere. Maybe it was 41 billion in inflows. Yeah, I think it's more. I mean, overall, cryptos are way over $1 trillion, I think. I don't know. Big numbers. There's a site I could pull up, but I don't think it's on this browser. Whatever the case is, I don't know, guys. A lot of you guys like crypto. Like I said, I own a little bit of stuff, but I just, I think gold and silver for alternate currencies. Otherwise, I think know-how is actually worth a lot more, or skills. If you're sort of good at doing stuff, that's actually worth a lot. So keep those things in mind. Social Security payment adjustments projected to be the lowest in years. They're making this out to be a bad thing, but it's really a good thing. Now, again, if you're somebody that's on Social Security, you're like, Dan, shut up. It's not. I want more money. But what it means is the cost of living didn't increase as much as it typically does, so you're not getting as large of a COLA increase. That's good. That means inflation is way lower than it should be or could be. So, yay, actually. Theoretically, you shouldn't need more than 2.5% because that's all inflation is or was. Or was, I think. So, it's kind of a good thing, actually. Markets, a little weird, a little okay, but they're pretty flat today. Gold was down a bit, which is fine. Again, I still think that makes for a good thing. That just means, one, the dollar's stronger, but two, it just means it's easier to buy. And I still think we've got a lot of crazy stuff that's going to be going on over the next period of time. This is another fun little investment trick that the precious metals markets use. So when the economy is looking better and people have more faith in the economy, the precious metal copper actually starts to go up in value. It starts to become more expensive because it's involved in construction, wiring and all that stuff. There's a lot of things that copper's used for. So when people have a positive, or when the economy's growing, copper becomes more expensive, typically more than gold, and the price of gold tends to go down in those cases. Where we are right now, price of copper has fallen through the floor and continuing to not go up. And the price of gold has been pretty high over the period of time. So there's a general consensus that we are at a slowing, and until we get some of these factories built and we start getting that happening, which is still 6, 9, 12 months down the road, guys. That's why I keep talking about protecting your wealth. We got a whole lot of crap we got to go through. Everything Trump's been doing so far is getting positive marks, and it's going to allow for us to move forward, and we're going to see things, and hopefully he times it well and he's able to kind of make things work. But our stock market, many believe, is way overpriced. Again, I just want to remind you guys, if you've got a 401k or an IRA, highly recommend diversifying into precious metals. Silver's way undervalued. Expectations going to go up a bunch. Gold is definitely going down lately. It's 31 something, which is awesome because It's going to go back up. It hit almost one day. It almost hit. I swear it hit 34.99. It didn't stay there overnight, but it hit that at one point through a day. So it's it's being a little strange too. And again, it's great that the Federal Reserve note's doing well, but ultimately the Fed's got to go too. So you got to understand there's some stuff baked into the big picture, the movie, that has to play out at some point. There's no way that doesn't hurt the stock market in a weird way. I don't know, just protect yourself. That's what I'm talking about. Diversifying out of that crazy system into something that's definitely demonstrated how well it's doing. So you can get out of your 401k IRA, you can diversify part of it, all of it, whatever you want. They don't recommend going more than 50%, but whatever you want to do. But you can diversify it into precious metals IRA. You can save a bunch of your wealth, protect it. Precious metals always do well in these times of years. So it is an important thing. They're offering up to 10% free silver for the face value of what you transfer over. They're going to offer up a free half-ounce collector's Ronald Reagan coin. They've got the best customer service you've ever used, the highest price buyback guarantee. Just incredible things that this company helps for you. They are awesome. I love them. I'm a customer too. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their freaking system while you can and take as much of your wealth, which is your acquired earnings over years, take as much of that with you. Make sure it's protected. And when the time's right, when the price of copper starts going back up, that's when we kick into the new system. Very nice little transfer from wealth to wealth. It's a great way to go. Former Missouri Governor Senator Kit Bond dies. This is a Republican senator from Missouri, apparently well-liked by many. So, hearts out to the family and all that. Senator Josh Hawley posted on X that they were saddened to hear of the death of his friend, Kit Bond. Kit Bond. Needless to say, it's very sad. They didn't say why he died. It's probably some health issue he'd been fighting over. Vermont governor pauses their EV rulings. They're going to try to go down the way of California, and try to raise the number of EVs they could have. But because Trump's administration has stopped wasting money on charging stations and all this crap, these states now can't move forward with this because they frankly don't have the infrastructure to support it. And they don't have anyone that's going to give them the money to do it, which they were probably siphoning off into all sorts of other things. So Vermont Governor Phil Scott signed an executive order May 13th putting the state's electric vehicle sales requirement for passenger cars and medium and heavy-duty trucks on hold amid concerns over the feasibility of zero-emission vehicle rules for the lack of adequate charging infrastructure. We're winning, guys. Louisiana still battling fentanyl crisis, ranks 7th nationwide in overdose deaths. Bad. This is not cool, but it does actually indicate something that's larger. We have an opioid crisis in this country. It's not China's fault per se. They're putting stuff to make a lot of these things more addictive. That's what the fentanyl does. So that was probably designed specifically for that purpose. So horrible. But we have an opioid crisis. We have people that are addicts that have an addictive substance, much like heroin, that they can't seem to want to get off of. That's really the problem. I don't worry about fentanyl. You know why? Because I don't take drugs that possibly have fentanyl in them. I don't do any of that crap. So I don't have to worry about it. That's important, right? You can't expect everybody to make sure that everything, I want a bill that guarantees that every bit of cocaine I ever buy from the dude I buy from, I don't buy any, but I'm just using, hypothetical. I want every bit of cocaine that I ever buy to be high quality. Right? Isn't that what everybody wants? I think so. I think that's generally the whole, who's got the best stuff for the price? I'm making some assumptions here, but now if they're throwing some fentanyl in there, now you're at risk. So this is, and where it's coming from too. And there's pharmaceuticals too. A lot of people are taking pain pills and shit like that. Well, they're making these things in Mexico. They're sticking fentanyl in them to make them more addictive. So they bring the price down a little bit so you keep going through that same source, but now you're addicted, you're taking more of them. People start to OD because they're addicted to the fentanyl. It's all bad, but the addiction is what rides the overwhelming problem. Harrowing confrontation between contractors led to Fort Detrick Biolab shutdown, NIH boss reveals. There was a little bit of a weird thing going on. They said there was some strange politics going on there. And this lab Well, they basically shut it down. Said about 3 weeks in, I got a report that there was a lab, a BSL-4 lab, that is a high-security lab that deals with, like, really nasty bugs. You know, Ebola, a whole bunch of other bugs that are there. That had been a safety incident that involved a contractor cutting a hole in the biocontainment suit of another worker with the intention of that getting that worker sick with some nasty bug and potentially spreading it outside the lab itself. Literally, somebody working inside of one of these labs, weaponizing viruses, figuring out how to get it released to the public. And why? Because they want to create a vaccine, most likely, or just kill a bunch of people, but I assume it's for the money. EPA targets engine start-stop systems in car. You know that stupid thing when you stop at the light, right? And the car next to you, and we finally start to go, and it's like, and then it starts back up, and then it can drive again. Yeah, that thing everybody hates. Turn it off the second you can. I saw it once in a rental car I was driving, and I was like, this is stupid. How do you turn that on? I finally found the button. I was very happy. It was annoying. Again, it was a crap car anyway, but like still. So they're actually looking at getting rid of that. That's another one of those stupid Biden things. EPA delays the end to the so-called forever chemicals in drinking water. So here's the problem. A lot of people are going to be pissed. They're going to make it happen, make it mandatory. I agree. They've got it out of the foods. They've basically stopped the continuation of leaching it into the environment. The problem is, there was another article I read on this. It was yesterday, I think. The problem is the way to get rid of it in the water, the drinking water, requires high pressure and high temperature. And this is really the only way they know how to do it. And the problem is these forever chemicals, and the reason they're forever chemicals is they have a very strong bond. I'm assuming it's a double or triple bond. And because of that bond, they don't break apart. They don't break. They stay as a giant particle rather than breaking into what we would call ions or smaller little separate particles that can be, attached to other things or whatever. So this is the problem they have, is most of these facilities, these water treatment plants, don't have a high-pressure, high-temperature facility to really treat the water. One of the good things about this is if we do get that to happen, we'll probably have the cleanest drinking water we've ever had in our lives, because it will probably reduce a whole lot of things. So this is, I think, a step in the bigger right direction, but it's going to take a little longer than the initial hope, I think, was. Someone pointed this out. I just thought it was very interesting. So in Latin, if you do stra, I'm probably saying it wrong, but I don't speak Latin. But AstraZeneca. Again, I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. I wonder if it'll pronounce it for me.
AstraZeneca.
AstraZeneca. There you go. AstraZeneca. Well, this is what it means in English.
A road to death.
AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca.
AstraZeneca.
Road to death. I don't know. Probably just a coincidence. Announcement on COVID-19 vaccines for kids coming soon. FDA commissioner says. It sounds like they're basically looking at getting rid of them. They're trying to make the case because they know that they're going to get attacked by the pharmaceutical companies through their myriad of lobbies / news outlets that all make money on that. I can't wait till they finally remove the advertising on the air. That's going to be the greatest day ever. Oh, it's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great day. But yeah, they're talking about getting rid of them. They're talking about getting randomized, better control studies around the use of why you would give healthy kids a COVID vaccine. It's just everything about it's stupid. They don't do it in Europe, which is weird. Every once in a while, we can look at Europe as an example of what to do, but most of the time, that's not the case. Trump administration ending prescription of fluoride drugs to children. This is no longer going to happen either. U.S. Food and Drug Administration today announced that it is initiating action to remove concentrated ingestible fluoride prescription drug products for children from the market. You should not ingest fluoride, not good for you. It's one thing to put it in your mouth, whatever, spit it out. Maybe some of it, gets swallowed. Not nearly as much as something that's got fluoride in it that you're meant to drink. So they're getting rid of those kinds of things. FDA is no longer in bed with all the people they shouldn't be in bed with. RFK Jr. drops a bold HHS plan. Here's what's coming up, so we understand anyways. Let's see if I can cue this properly.
Let me be clear. We intend to make the Trump HHS not just the most effective, but also the most compassionate in U.S. history. Our official budget statement outlines many priorities, but I will highlight a few. First, we will consolidate programs to better tackle mental health and addiction. These issues now rival chronic disease in their impact. HHS will aggressively combat the opioid crisis, especially the spread of synthetic drugs like fentanyl. We will empower state, local, and tribal leaders to create effective solutions. Second, we will address nutrition, physical activity, and healthy lifestyles. The President's budget requests $94 billion in discretionary funds to support these priorities, including the Administration for a Healthy America. We will emphasize healthy eating and Head Start and ensure the program continues to serve its 750,000 children and parents effectively. Third, we will equip the FDA to expand its food safety efforts through research, regulations, independence, and education to remove harmful chemicals from food and packaging. And we're already doing this more aggressively than any other administration in history. We will fund cutting-edge research at the NIH while cutting risky or non-essential services. That includes ending of gain-of-function experiments and research based upon radical gender ideology.
Yeah, we're not going to be doing any of that gender crap anymore. No more studies on it anyways, which shouldn't be paid for by taxpayer money either. You got some crazy lab that wants to pay for that, and you want to get some rich, weird transgender freaks to pay for it? Do it. Have a good time, guys. You spend your own money on that. We ain't paying for that shit anymore. Days are done. Days are done, people. Unbelievable RFK Jr. says corruption in NIH was the sole reason there isn't a cure for Alzheimer's. Just let that sink in, right? If you can remember that long.
We're switching the trajectory so that we're going to really focus narrowly on chronic disease, ending the chronic disease epidemic, and then we're going to make sure that the science cannot be corrupted. That every scientific study is replicated, that the raw data for those studies is published, that the peer review for those studies is published. And we're going to focus on making sure that we get to younger scientists rather than the old boys network. And I could talk to you about scientific corruption all day long, about horror stories that we know have happened within NIH. One of those, probably the worst, is the amyloid plaque scandal. For 20 years, because of utter corruption and fraud, we were directing Alzheimer's research to one hypothesis, and any other hypothesis was shut down. We should have the cure for Alzheimer's today. We don't have it purely because of corruption at NIH.
Ms. Frankel.
We are going to have it quickly.
Ms.
Thank you,
Frankel.
Mr. Secretary.
Oh, they don't like hearing that, do they? And again, there was some funny post about how Democrats are tired of hearing about waste and abuse and fraud. We tire of this. We're ready to move on to other things. You mean the least important stuff that you guys want to deal with? European Court of Justice has ruled that the EU Commissioner violated transparency rules by not granting access to text messages between Ursula von der Leyen and Pfizer. The ECJ ruled that the EU Commission must release the text messages exchanged between Ursula von der Leyen and Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla during their coronavirus pandemic. Ursula von der Leyen doesn't want to share that. She probably made a bunch of money off this too. Again, elected, not even an elected official. She was put in by people that were put in by people that were elected. The EU is the most bullshit thing that exists on this planet right now. It's up there with the CCP. It was the attempt to turn Europe into the CCP. They were already heavily socialist to begin with. England was smart enough to get out, but again, they've got some crazy going on in England. Though you guys are making some interesting strides right now. I got a couple stories. Macron, I should say, to say it douchely, he reveals feelings about America First. He's basically saying, look, here's the thing, and we get it. And he's saying it, like, we get it. We don't maybe like it, but we get it. America's distancing themselves from Europe. They're not going to pay for everything. They're not going to protect us. They're not going to do it anymore. They're telling us this. They're giving us ample warning. We, as Europe, need to prepare and deal with that. Rather than, but you need to keep giving us money. No, we don't. No, we don't, Europe. Fuck you. How about that? Come take it from our cold, dead hands. Because you don't have any shit at all. We've been protecting you forever. Which, again, not cool. It's part of the deep state, Cartel, all that stuff. So there you go. The world's changing. Everybody needs to play their part. Everybody needs to stop sucking off everybody else's teat. Unless you're into that kind of thing. I'm just saying, put your keys in the basket. We'll see you in a little bit. Pop star Ed Sheeran admits every area of London is dangerous now. Yeah, 'cause you can't tell if people are pissed, don't understand what the fuck they're saying. There's all these way, all right, like, what did you just say? Ed Sheeran's a good guy. I like Ed Sheeran's music. I don't know if I've featured him yet. I will, for sure. I think I was inspired one time by him. I like his music a ton, I actually think. And the stuff he does with other artists, he's pretty good too. I'm pointing down there because that's where this few CDs I've got of his are currently, because they're ones I listen to frequently. But yeah, every area of London is dangerous. Of course it is. Danger's my middle name. UK PM Starmer has been slammed for daring to suggest immigrants should speak English. What is going on with Starmer? Seriously. He's saying all the stuff. Well, it got Eric Adams in trouble. It's getting him in trouble. His house caught fire recently. Yeah. Right after he came out about how immigrant stuff needs to change. House catches fire. The immigrant thing is the thing they're using to destabilize every place they're flooding immigrants into. Any place that stops the flood of immigrants will immediately begin to improve the problems they have. Immediately. The United States is definitely showing the way. Other countries have done the same. El Salvador definitely showed us the way. So yeah, I'm just shocked that England's doing what they need to do. The new pope is apparently not woke. He's not MAGA supporting either. His brother says he's very centrist. We'll see. I don't care what people say. I will see what happens. We'll see what he does with the church. Maybe this is the dude that's finally going to fix the pope or fix the church, which would be, in my opinion, the last pope. We'll see. That'd be awesome. I'd love to believe that's the case. There's a lot of people that say the other side of that is true. I don't know. We'll see. That's what some of this is fun. Let people show you their colors. Don't assume their colors before you can get those done for sure. Right? You got to know for sure. You got to see him do it. Pretty good. Trump on Qatar, the second leg of the Mideast trip.
It's on Thursday. If President Putin doesn't show up in Turkey for the talks with Ukraine, what will you do?
Well, I don't know if he's showing up. I know he would like me to be there. And that's a possibility. If we could end the war, I'd be thinking about that. Now, tomorrow, we're all booked out. You understand that? We're all set.
But you move. He goes.
UAE tomorrow. And so we have a very full situation. Now, that doesn't mean I wouldn't do it to save a lot of lives and come back. But, yeah, I think they're thinking about something. I don't know that he would be there if I'm not there. We're going to find out. Marco's going. And Marco's been very effective.
They're playing this very carefully because a couple things. This is just fact. Just accept this as fact. I'm sorry. I hate to say it. I mean, have other people tell you otherwise. But one, the deep state can't have Ukraine war stop. The Khazarian mafia is there. The Khazarian mafia is losing power. The Khazarian mafia is not getting weapons, guns, ammo, money. They're being drastically cut down. Hugely. Other locations of Khazarian mafia, Israel, CCP, Iran, probably it right now. Because I don't even think North Korea is part of that anymore. So they are... Trump is changing things. No U.S. president has ever been in Qatar. I don't know if I've got the actual video of that. I thought I did. Maybe I was just looking at it. But no U.S. president's ever been there for Qatar. A lot of people pissed about this. Trump's actually bringing the world together. There's people pissed about it, of course, because we're doing the right thing. We're bringing the world together. Oh, we'll never have peace. All right, well, I'm never going to talk to you ever about anything because you obviously you've never had a Hallmark. You've never read a Hallmark card, obviously. Germany detains 3 Ukrainians over alleged bomb plots. They were planning on blowing something up and blaming Russia. They caught him. Wonder who gave him the information, Germany, because obviously it wasn't them. Please. We probably gave him some info. Hey, here's what's happening. You want to know? You bust it. You put it out as what happened. Be straight about it. So, again, Zelensky, the deep state, whatever, trying to continue the war. Berlin refuses to discuss missile deliveries to Kyiv. Germany's not giving any more weapons. They're not even going to talk about it anymore. France can't give Ukraine any more arms or legs. We're out. We're out of body parts. Sorry. He means weapons, of course. France isn't giving. Germany's not giving. Says there's a risk of starting a war within NATO. So things are changing. We'll see. Obviously, they want the war to end. Ukraine is losing all reasons to stay in this. There's literally, from the public-facing, right, optics, there's zero reason to stay in this war. What are you going to do there? What are you going to do there, Vladi boy? Heavy fighting happens in the fractured capital of Libya, or the capital in fractured Libya. Seems like, from what I understand in this article, that there's the government, and then there was this like freedom, or not freedom fighter. Let's call him a freedom fighter, though, because that's what the deep state would call him, right? There was this fighter guy, and he owned quite a lot of area, had a lot of power. The other little cartel area trying to, fight against him, they weren't really able to get any inroads. I think this other cartel was maybe on the better side, whatever. But this guy seemed to have been like one of the unstoppables. And they lured him into this, hey, let's chit-chat. We want to work out some sort of negotiation. We want to work out a treaty deal with you. So this guy's like, I'm going to own you all. And he's on his way to the location or at the location or whatever, and gets smoked. They talked him into it. They tricked him, basically. Whatever the case was, he did it. He got smoked. So now things have hugely changed. This was a big player in Libya. So maybe the Libyan government might have just gotten stabilized a little because we just took out, it sounds like, to me anyways, another major deep state player. And this was the killing of, let's just try, Abdelghani al-Kikli, powerful militia commander known as Genewa. Or Genewa. Right? That Chevy Chase and Caddyshack. At least that's what I'm thinking of in my mind. Maybe it means something else. Iran offers the same terms it accepted from Obama. Temporary limits on nuclear enrichment, which basically means, no, is what Trump's going to say. No, that's not happening. Apparently, Israeli military says it conducted a precise strike on Hamas terrorists beneath the European hospital in Gaza. It is reported that this massive strike was an attempt to assassinate Hamas leader Mohammed Sinwar. I'm wondering if they were successful. Maybe they weren't, but they look like they tried to hit a few places where he might be. Whatever the case, we'll see if we find anything out at some point down the road here. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian said on Wednesday that Zhangnan is part of China's territory and that Chinese government has standardized the names of some parts of Zhangnan. This is within China's sovereign rights. It sounds like they're kind of doing what we did with the Gulf of America. Kind of rename it and then just sort of take ownership of it based off of that. Again, 3 poles, Russia, China, and us, for the most part. So I don't know if this is, I'm not passing judgment. I don't think this is cool. It's Indian-controlled territory, by the way. India's not going to like this. This is what China typically does, though. China's kind of a little douchey sometimes. The Emir of Qatar, to POTUS. This is a very significant moment in history, folks.
We're extremely honored to have you here. We're very excited, very happy. It's a historic visit, and I don't know if you know that you are the first American president to officially to visit Qatar. Right. So we're very honored.
I'm glad you dressed up and put on some nice shoes for me, sir. Right? You can see one of them. You can see his friggin' flip-flops. Sandals, as my girlfriend would say. Your slippers. That cool accent. I love it. Just bringing this up just so you guys know. I don't know. I didn't know this. I was like, crap. I got a plane trip coming up, obviously doing Houston. That'll be fun. July 4th. Going to be out there for 2 hours doing a live music show. Should be a lot of fun. Gonna have some dance music, but also just gonna mix in some good, just groove and dance kind of tunes. I don't know, 2 hours, maybe do some patriotic stuff for some of it too. I don't know. I wanted to make it fun for the people that are there live, but at the same time, still make it fun for the people that aren't able to be there live. So we'll figure out how to properly do that. All said, lithium ion and lithium metal batteries cannot be put into your stowed luggage anymore. They must be put in your carry-on baggage. This is a new directive, so keep these things in mind. There's probably reasons for it because of how bombings are being planned. I'm just going to say it is annoying because it's like, for me, I sometimes bring like an extra brick that's just for my laptop, and I usually throw that in my suitcase because carrying it around is stupid heavy. But yeah, you got to do what you got to do, apparently, right? Or I'll do that. I got a different carry-on I can take with me. We'll figure it out, make it a little easier. But all said, something good to know. That's not maybe common knowledge to everybody. New Jersey home exploded, ruled a murder-suicide. No one knows who these people are yet. Individual gentleman, let's call him. I don't know how gentile he was, but whatever. We're going to use that loosely. The lady, I think it was his wife, woman anyways. They're going to probably have to do some testing to verify. She, or someone he was dating, she was found dead with being burnt to death and then also having a bullet wound. So the bullet wound is what they figure is what got her. The gentleman, we're going to call him, was found dead, burnt, with a gun next to him. I don't think he shot himself. He created a gas leak and then some scenario where it eventually exploded. He also, I think, used an accelerant, quite possibly on himself, maybe just to make sure that if for some reason this finally blows up, I will burn to death, I guess. I don't know. But they're both dead. They're investigating it. Blew the hell out of the house. Freaked out the neighbors, obviously, to say the least. So I don't know. We don't know. I'm kind of curious. It's one of those things you also got to almost wonder, like, did the lady's like, I want a divorce? And he's like, all right. And, you know, like middle of the night, bad choices made. Like, yeah, who knows? Weird stuff going on with the Diddy trial. It finally started. I haven't been talking about it because none of this shit's been happening. But Cassie Ventura back on the stand. She was testifying about the abusive relationship. Just a lot of really bad stuff, damage she received. She has like scars and whatnot, like really pretty messed up. We'll get more info as things move on. But what's kind of weird too is Justin Bieber did a whole bunch of weird Instagram posts yesterday I think it was. And then late at night, there is this weird post. And what's really weird about this, he posted a video yesterday of himself eating a slice of pizza as Cassie Ventura took the stand. Video looks like it was taken from a surveillance camera. You know, like the cameras Diddy used to take freak-off parties for blackmail purposes. Bieber was no doubt a victim of Diddy and has been exposing Pizzagate and calling for justice for years. So either he created this camera image, he posted it, probably, but he's poking back at Diddy, if you will. I guess I'll play it. I would assume the whole opening is there's just got to be a lot of symbolism in there that none of us get that makes sense to the people that are total pedos. Researchers claim to have found Noah's Ark. It was like the 80th time it feels like. There's the one on Mount Ararat. So I don't know if this is it or another one. This doesn't look like the Ark to me, and I also think the Ark is probably something other than a boat just to go on public. But I understand that there's a presumption that it's a boat, and this guy thinks he's found it. So, cool, he's going to start researching and looking into it. We'll see if he's able to figure it out. If it is the boat, then that'll be fantastic. We'll finally know for sure. It'll be incredible. Incredibile. And let's see, finally from the news type stuff. We've got the ban on Major League Baseball legend Pete Rose has apparently been lifted. I was shocked by it, by the way. I was completely shocked by it. I think it's cool. A lot of people are saying should he now be in the Hall of Fame. I do. I think Pete Rose was a legendary player. I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. They could have put an asterisk next to his name in there. I would have been fine with that. And then they could have removed the asterisk now, or just left it there and just added and he's been released or it's been lifted, whatever. But whatever the case is, Pete Rose, what he did, betting on his own team, not cool. And so that sucks, but he was an amazing player when he was playing. So it's just, I feel bad taking that away from him, even though he made poor choices. I want to remind you guys, of course, of the Root Brand's incredible product. They've got such great stuff. All sorts of health products. Let's go ahead and just jump to shop because it's kind of easier. All products, what the hell? A few things I like to use. First off, Clean Slate's really good. A few drops on the tongue twice a day, and it actually gets rid of a lot of the heavy metals and stuff like that, right? Like it's a trip how well it works, and you'll actually kind of notice it. It helps remove a lot of toxins from the body. Just twice a day, drops on the tongue. I don't know, it's kind of salty, sort of bitter. It's not like it's something you'd want to drink. You wouldn't want to throw some vodka in with that. That'd be delicious. No, but it works, and it does what it needs to do, and it's not necessarily meant to be delicious, but it is meant to help clean out your system, and it does a darn good job of that. Zero N's one of my favorite things. I love this. This is one of the best energy supplements I've ever found. Tiny bit of caffeine. I want to say it's like 25 milligrams, and then it's got a bunch of other stuff. It just literally, oddly, in a weird way, helps me just focus. Like I got to pull, it takes me hours, 2-3 hours to pull all the news stories I use on these shows, and obviously there's a shit ton of them, right? I can't even come close to doing an hour and a half because of that. It helps me focus, though. Restore is great. Supports bone health. Supports healthy gut microbiome. Supports healthy blood pressure. It's just good after workouts and stuff. Just kind of helps your body sort of replenish. It gives it some of the good stuff it needs. It's actually very delicious. That one I very much enjoyed. They've got packages, too, where you can buy, a few of these things together, and it's always a good idea. Crush and Sculpt are really good. Sculpt is the one I've used, and this actually helps you, helps with your habit, your appetite, and it also helps with the way your body is currently processing sugars, and so it helps you lose weight. And it's surprisingly good. It's not like you drop crap tons of pounds, but you'll notice day after day after day, you're shedding pounds. It's very, very effective. Now, the other one, Crush, problem I have with these three is they're powders, and you scoop them in, and they're awesome. They've got just micro granules. They've got all the good stuff in them. So they need to be put in some sort of smoothie or in some sort of drink that you can really mix up nicely. I don't do that on a regular basis. I don't eat smoothies, drinks, right? So it makes it difficult for me. Give me back my youth, believe it or not. I was actually just eating that as a scoop. I'd put a little spoon and eat. And a lot of people that actually know the product are like, I don't know, it tasted kind of like milk a little bit. So it wasn't intolerable, but it was just like a weird, I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this. I should be blending this up in something. Relive Greens, no way in hell I was doing that. It was a very, very green. I've used it before. It turns whatever you got green, but it's got all these plant and fruit extracts. It's just like a cornucopia of healthy stuff. So it's so good. And then Crush is if you work out, which is probably somebody that's doing smoothies on a regular basis, then this has got all your proteins in it. It's got your aminos. It's just an excellent way to add some of those things into your life and do it with a healthier, I don't know, some of the protein shakes and stuff that are out there aren't necessarily the healthiest forms of protein. These are really, really good forms of protein. So again, a lot of really, really good stuff that they've got at this company. Highly recommend them. TheRootBrands.com/Dan Radio Style. And that's TheRootBrands.com/Dan Radio Style. And that's ROOT for root. TheRootBrands.com/Dan Radio Style. Again, healthy stuff. Clean spirits. It's like if you drank too much, this stuff works really good the next day. They actually sent us that so we could try it. And they got some really, really cool skin stuff too, by the way. Really cool skin stuff. Peptide cleanser, facelift. They've just got really good moisturizers. My girlfriend, I gave it to her. She's like, I love this stuff. So again, good stuff. And they've got Koto, which is for your pet. It helps protect them actually from all the little infrared and all the Wi-Fi and just all the crazy shit that's bombarding them and all the chemtrails. It actually helps. It kind of gives them a little barrier. Just spray it on them. And I don't know how it would work for cats, frankly, because cats just clean themselves too much. But dogs, it works very, very well because dogs are retarded. They're cool as hell, though. Best friend you'll ever have. But yeah, they're retarded. Let's just be honest. They're cute as hell. And BioWare, I don't even know what this one is, but it's kind of a newer product. Yeah. They got great stuff. I love it. I mean, the company just makes really, really high quality stuff. TheRootBrands.com/Dan Radio Style. Check out all the stuff they got. Check out what it can do for you. They've got amazing products that can help you in any number of ways, especially the moisturizing in the skin. Stuff's really good. The girl, she's the owner. This chick's like, she's all about looking pretty. She's always got her picture. She's always taking pictures of herself, right? So, yeah. She wants her skin to look good. Trust me, she knows what she's doing. TheRootsBrands.com/Dan Radio Style. Yeah, make those good choices. Things are changing fast, and the deep state's losing badly. And they don't know what to do. So they're getting cornered. We'll see how it keeps going. We're going to keep working together, folks. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to do. I want you guys as involved as you can be. And this is going to play out how it plays out. And we're going to help as many as we help. And there's not much more we can do other than just give it our all and give it our best. And demonstrate to others, be an example unto others, and shine your light brightly. That's all we can hope for at this point, because that's going to be the ripple. That's going to be the difference. They're going to see you shining, and they're going to know, yeah, I can do this. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.